So here's the deal. The Google Pixel 7 dropped back in 2022, but in 2025, you can pick it up for as low as $143. And I know what you are thinking. Bro, that's a steal, but can I still game? Well friends, that's exactly what we are about to find out. In this video, I'm throwing 4 of the most heavy titles on this smartphone: PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, Asphalt 9 and Free Fire Max. I'll test them in both TDM and Battle Royale modes. Talk about FPS, graphics, thermals, battery drain, and of course give you the real truth about whether this Pixel 7 can actually keep up in 2025 or if it's just another camera phone pretending to game. And just so you know, this is a full gaming review. No sugarcoating, no fake hype. If this Pixel 7 struggles, I'll roast it. If it surprises me, I'll hype it up. Straight faces only. And hey, if you're new here, then smash that subscribe button and tap the bell icon to never miss some brutally honest gaming reviews like this one. So grab a snack and let's deep dive into the gaming capabilities of this Pixel 7. Alright friends, first up is PUBG Mobile. On the Pixel 7, you can push it to HDR with Extreme or Smooth with Extreme. And of course, I went with Smooth plus Extreme setting because when it comes to gaming, FPS is always greater than fancy shadows any day. At the start, I was actually impressed. The game runs at rock solid 60 FPS in TDM. Movement feels fluid, aiming is snappy, and the gyro is ridiculously accurate. I am not kidding, I call it M-bot level. Third response is also very fast, almost like the phone is predicting your thumbs. For those first few rounds, I honestly forgot I was on a 2022 smartphone. But then, the Pixel 7 pulled a classic Pixel move. About in 50 to 30 minutes, the smartphone started heating up. And here's the kicker. Google has set the thermal throttle cap at just 40 centigrade. That's way too conservative. So the moment temps hit that point, the CPU dials itself down. And the smooth 60 FPS you were enjoying starts dipping in the mid-40s. It doesn't crash the experience, but you will definitely feel it in close gunfights. So friends, enjoy the rest of the TDM or jump to Battle Royale straight ahead. I gave you the timestamps.
Form up on me.
Now, switching over to the Battle Royale, and things starts the same. Right after landing, the gameplay is smooth, hovering between 57 to 60 FPS. Running around, looting, early fights, everything feels stable. And here's an important note. What you're watching is a screen recording at higher bitrate, which means the CPU and GPU are both under extra load. Even then, the game holds up impressively well in the early and mid game. But as the match stretches into the later zone, that aggressive throttling comes back to haunt you. Frame dip into mid 35s and 45s during intense squad fights. And this stutter can cost you a fight if you're unlucky. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Tensor G2 isn't actually weak. In fact, the gameplay proves the hardware is capable of much more. So if you got a smartphone cooler or you live in a cold place, you are golden. But if you live in somewhere hot, then sorry buddy, you can't enjoy the full glory of the smartphone's gaming performance. That said, enjoy the gameplay.
Watch out! We're the best.
Next up is the Call of Duty Mobile. And man, this one had me curious. On a Pixel 7, you can play it at high graphics plus max FPS or drop to low graphics with ultra 90 FPS. Naturally, I went for smooth frame rates or pretty textures. In TDM, the Pixel 7 actually surprised me. Gameplay was consistently buttery smooth, hovering between 87 to 90 FPS, which is just amazing. The touch response is instant, the movements are crisp, and the gyro feels perfectly tuned. It legit feels competitive, like you could sweat in ranked matches without blaming the smartphone. For shorter matches, there's basically zero compromises here. So of course, after a few back-to-back TDM rounds, you will feel the heat creeping in. The smartphone gets noticeably warm, and Google conservative thermal throttling starts nibbling at the performance. The difference isn't massive in short bursts, but if you tune matches for half an hour or more, you will see frame drops into low 60s. Still playable, but not iPhone smooth. And honestly, for this price point, it's totally worth it. Well friends, enjoy the gameplay. India, this gameplay was shot by the Xiaomi 12D Pro at 4K 60 FPS externally.
Get that sniper! Target down! Predator missile inbound. Tango down. Our sentry gun has been destroyed. Contact with enemy. Sniper. Taking the lead. UAV recon standing by. Repeat, UAV recon is standing by. Sniper down. Enemy down. UAV online. Reloading. Target down. Target's in sight. Target down. Enemy down. Enemy down. Recon ready for deployment. Changing mag! Cover me! Get down, sniper! Sniper. Winning this one. UAV online. Enemy in sight. Tango down! Sentry gun ready for deployment. Friendly Predator missile inbound. Sniper. Sniper eliminated! Enemy contact!
Now here's where things get interesting. What you're watching here is a high bitrate screen recording of the Battle Royale, which means the CPU and GPU are both doing double duty. Even under that extra load, the Pixel 7 manages to stay impressively smooth for most of the match. Frame rates usually hover in the 55 to 75 FPS range, with fluid character movement, quick response, and crisp aiming. This game feels genuinely enjoyable, and if you didn't know, you would think you're in a mid-tier gaming smartphone. But as always, the Pixel thermal storage returns. After 15 to 20 minutes of Battle Royale, when the fight gets heavier, the temperature crosses that 40 centigrade threshold, and throttling kicks in. The action frame can dip into the high 40s or low 50s. It's not game-breaking, but it does rob you of that consistent edge and longer sessions. And that's the thing here. For short Battle Royale games, the Pixel 7 feels like a champ. For marathon ranked games, not so much. Well friends, enjoy the gameplay.
Engaging enemies. The airdrop is coming. Enemy down. Airdrop has been delivered. The airdrop is coming. Engaging enemies. Reloading. Airdrop has been delivered. Enemy down. Changing mag. Enemy down. Airdrop incoming. Enemy down. The airdrop is coming.
Buy station is unavailable.
The safe zone is collapsing. Only 2 teams left. Getting close to victory.
Now on the Free Fire Max, and honestly, this is where the Pixel Sim flexes a little. In Clash Squad, basically TDM mode, the game is absolutely flawless at max settings. Frame rate sits locked at 60 FPS, movements are crisp, and the dot response is rather sharp. The gyro isn't as big a deal here compared to PUBG or Call of Duty Mobile, but when you use it, it still feels natural and responsive. But what stood out to me is how cool and stable the smartphone stayed during these short matches. Unlike PUBG or Call of Duty Mobile, which quickly pushed the Pixel toward its throttle point, Free Fire is light enough that you can spam Clash Squad games without feeling the frame dips. It's basically smooth sailing here. Will friends enjoy this little montage? And yes, this video is also recording by the Xiaomi 20 Pro 4K 60 FPS externally, so no load on smartphone.
Triple kill.
Help me!
First blood. Double kill.
Come here!
First blood. I need blue wall.
Help me!
Help me! Help me!
Be patient.
Help me! Help me!
First blood. Double kill. Double kill.
Now, what you're seeing is a screen recording at higher bitrate while playing Battle Royale and Free Fire Max. Even with that extra CPU plus GPU load, Free Fire Max runs butter smooth. The FPS counter holds between 58 to 60 FPS almost the entire match, with no noticeable dips even in late game's chaos. Landing, looting, rushing into squad fights, the Pixel 7 shoots through it all without breaking a sweat. And this is where you will notice the difference compared to PUBG or Call of Duty Mobile, because Free Fire isn't as heavy as these two. Google's thermal throttling doesn't kick in aggressively here. Even after 20 minutes of Battle Royale, the game feels stable, fluid, and genuinely fun, while friends enjoy the gameplay.
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadra kill. Dominating.
Alright friends, let's find up the Asphalt 9. For the first race, I recorded it using another smartphone, the Xiaomi 12T Pro's main camera at 4K 60 FPS. So the Pixel 7 could run stress-free without any extra screen recording load. And man, at first glance, the visuals are gorgeous. The OLED display pops with vibrant colors and the cars shine like they've just been waxed. And the touch response feels quick and sharp. But here's where reality kicks in. The frame rate sets around 65 to 70 FPS. Not buttery 90 FPS you would hope for. Gameplay is still smooth enough to enjoy, but you will notice those missing frames if you gamed on higher refresh rate smartphones. Still, tuned at 75 plus FPS, the handling, drifts and the crash feel responsive and fun. Honestly, if you're just here to enjoy the ride, you will have a blast. My friends, enjoy the gameplay. Now the real test, screen recording while gaming. This puts extra strain on the CPU and the GPU. Since the smartphone handling both the game and higher bitrate recording at the same time, then yeah, the Pixel 7 struggled. The FPS convert stubbornly refuses to pass 45 FPS, often dipping into low 40s. Still, here's the surprising part. Even under that pressure, the gameplay doesn't feel broken. The controls remain responsive, the visuals still look amazing, and the car crashes are just flashy as ever. But you can clearly tell that the Mali G710 GPU is the bottleneck here. It just doesn't have the RAM muscle to push the Asphalt 9 at full 60 FPS while recording, especially post-update. So friends, enjoy the scheduled gameplay. Now, you might be asking that, Hamza, should we buy the smartphone in 2025 for gaming? Well friends, that brings me to my final verdict. So, is the Google Pixel 7 in 2025 a gaming smartphone? Nah, but can it game? Well, yeah, but with conditions. I mean, here's the breakdown. PUBG Mobile, smooth and fun at first, but throttling will put you down mid-match unless you tweak it. Call of Duty Mobile, actually very playable, especially in TDM. But if you're a marathon BR, the heat starts creeping in. Asphalt 9, smooth as butter, unless you're pushing it to 90 FPS. Free Fire Max, Pixel's Redemption R, run super smooth, stable FPS, no drama. And friends, as you know, I've explained it a lot in another review, and in this review is this Pixel heat. I mean, Google kept throttling super early, around 40 centigrade. So the phone nerves itself, even though the hardware can do more. But if you're a casual gamer, you are fine. But if you're hardcore, well, it will definitely annoy you, as it did to me. But here's the thing, in 2025, you can stack a refurbished Pixel 7 for as low as $143, and that's insane value. I mean, you are getting a clean software experience, one of the best cameras in its class, and a decent casual gaming chipset. Compared to $300+ smartphones, the Pixel still holds its ground, unless you only care about gaming, in which case go to Magic or ROG. So, if you're a casual gamer who just wants to play PUBG, Free Fire or Call of Duty Mobile, the Pixel 7 is honestly a bargain. But if you're chasing pro-level competitive gameplay, high refresh rates and zero throttling, nah fam, this isn't it. Get a really gaming smartphone. And friends, if you're thinking of grabbing this smartphone in 2025, don't waste your money on shady shop whisper about guaranteed original. I've teamed up with Sharjah Mobile, the store you can actually trust. They've got the Pixel 7 and other bunch of hot models at prices that won't kill your wallet. And the best part, use the code Hamza for an exclusive discount. So yeah, this Pixel 7 in gaming in 2025, well, it's not perfect, but it's also not terrible. It's just a smart, cheap, reliable all-rounder that happens to game, kinda. And remember, gaming is the only part of the story. Check out my full Pixel 7 review if you haven't checked already, where I broke down the display, cameras, software and everything else. Trust me, you will want to see that too. So yeah friends, that's all for this review. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to never miss a review video like this one. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments section. I will love to answer them. So my name is Hamza, this is Heads Tech, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you want to watch the full review of this Pixel 7, then that video is right here. And if you want to watch the full camera review of this Pixel 7, then that video is right here. Thank you for watching.